Hello drinkers, welcome to the Whiskey Ranger Reviews. In today's video we're going to be sampling this Glenmorangie, the original 10-year-old, and comparing it to the brand new Glenmorangie, the original 12-year-old. Let's get stuck in. So I've poured myself a glug of each of these, ready to get stuck in with a sample. Just one thing that I've just noticed is that the 10-year-old is a slightly lighter colour than the 12-year-old. Now, don't be fooled, this could be some of your old single malt trickery. Glenmorangie do use E150 caramel colouring. They can add that to their whiskey to make that whiskey appear darker and hence lead people to believe that that whiskey has been aged for longer. I'm not saying that this whiskey hasn't been aged for the additional 2 years. It definitely has, but I sometimes think that that is added to lead people down the wrong path. But there is a definite difference, I don't know if you can see in the glass, but the 10-year-old is kind of a straw-like colour, and this has got a bit of an amber tinge to it there. Could be from the cask, but it definitely could be from the caramel added to it. So let's start with the 10-year-old. We'll give it a sniff. Yeah, that's Glenmorangie. So I have bought quite a few bottles of this in the past. This was a particular favourite of my granddad's. He used to treat himself to a bottle of this every Christmas. That's one of the first memories that I've got of whiskey in general. He did really love that. And I've really liked it in the past as well. As a start-up whiskey, for someone that's just beginning the whiskey journey, it's a great bottle to start with. It really is. It's got lots of fresh flavours, fresh floral notes, orange. It's got some honey. Got the malt there. It's really quite sweet, but it's got a bit of an alcoholic tinge to the nose. So before we taste, we'll just give the 12-year-old a nose and just see if there's any differences to pick up there. Not as harsh. This is a little bit harsh on the nose. This, no. And it's more rounded. It's got more of there's a bit of an almond sort of nose there. The citrus is not as poignant on the nose, but we're still getting that caramel, like a Werther's Original type of caramel smell. But definitely doesn't tingle your nose like the 10-year does. Yeah, it's a little bit astringent. Comparing them side by side, and I wouldn't have said that just trying the 10-year-old, but this does now have more of an astringency on the nose than the 12-year-old does. So maybe that additional 2 years in the cask has given this the upper hand in being a little bit cleaner on the nose. So we'll give the 10-year-old a taste. Just before I do that, I'll just mention that Glenmorangie 10-year-old is bottled at 40%. The 12-year-old is also the same, so they're bottled at the same strength of 40% alcohol. We've also need to mention that the barrels that they use to age the whiskey in both variations are ex-bourbon barrels. So the barrels from America that have originally had bourbon whiskey inside, Glenmorangie have purchased them from said distillery in America, and they put their new make spirit into those barrels. Both exactly the same. Let's give it a taste. Again, the word I'm using is fresh. A lot of citrus, zest, orange peel. You get the malt coming through and a little bit of the spice. A little bit of honey and the caramel. But it's quite a floral and a fresh tasting whiskey. Yeah, you definitely get them floral notes coming through. We'll dive straight into the 12 and just see what we get there, if there's any difference. And there is quite a difference there, actually. I wasn't expecting that. Tried this many times. This is the first time I've tried the 12. And it's quite a different experience altogether, actually. It's more of a rounded whiskey. There's a bit of a waxy note there now, but you still get the honey and the caramel and the vanilla coming through. The citrus isn't quite as intense, but it's still there. It's more of a sugared orange peel now in there. Spicy. The finish is a little bit different as well, so that it seems to cling to your tongue a little bit longer. This kind of disappears pretty much straight away, not much of a finish on there, but the 12-year-old has definitely got a little bit more of a linger there. Yeah, it's got a bit sweet and sour actually. So the sweetness and bitterness at the same time, catching me on the sides of the tongue. That's quite different actually, and I wasn't expecting it to be that different, to be honest, but there is a definite benefit to aging that whiskey for an additional 2 years in that barrel. Now, whether that additional 2 years is worth the increase in price. Now, I don't remember ever buying a bottle of 10-year-old Glenmorangie for more than 35 quid. Looking at the price of the 12-year-old, and this bottle that I've purchased was 41 quid for that. So that's a bit of a markup there for an additional 2 years. Do I feel that the difference in taste on the 12 from the 10 is worth that extra money? Maybe, but I don't think it is. When you consider that Glenmorangie already produce 2 other types of whiskey that are quite close to the price point of this. One bottle is a little bit more, but not by much, and I've got them to show you. So the first one is Glenmorangie La Santa. Now, La Santa is this whiskey, so this exact whiskey, aged for 10 years in ex-bourbon barrels. Then after 10 years it's dumped out of the bourbon barrels and then rebarreled into ex-sherry casks, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, the sherry cask is the La Santa. Then it'll do an additional 2 years in the sherry cask. Then it's emptied from the sherry casks, bottled, and this is the product. Now, the La Santa is bottled at 43%. This is 40%, these two. You can buy this bottle of La Santa for between £50 and £55. Now, you can get it in places for 50 quid. So from a £41 price to a £50 price, it goes without saying that this is the bottle to have. But then you could also buy Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben. Now this one is aged for a total of 14 years. So it's this spirit aged for 10 years in ex-bourbon barrels, dumped and then barreled again in ex-port casks, and it does 4 years in the port cask, then it's dumped and bottled. And it's bottled at 46%, and you can pick this up for between 40 and 50 quid. So, £40, £40, 40%, 46%, 12-year-old, 14-year-old. You do the math. This is my go-to Glenmorangie. I was once in a bar in Edinburgh called Dirty Dick's, and it's a great bar. It's a proper whiskey bar. It's in the centre of Edinburgh. It's an old, it's got loads of crazy stuff all over the walls, you know, it's an old-fashioned wooden bar. The back wall is just completely full of bottles of whiskey from all over the world. And I was sat in this bar one night, and a guy came and sat next to me, got chatting. He was from Pennsylvania in America. Got chit-chatting. He asked me what whiskey he could try. He were on vacation with his girlfriend's family, just getting into whiskey. What would I recommend? That's the bottle. And between us, we drank half of that bottle in the space of an hour and 15 minutes. And he absolutely loved it. I think, for your money, buy this. You could buy a bottle of the 12-year-old and just keep it to one side when you've got your friends around, or, you know, give it a try. But just to go back to the main purpose of the video, is the 12-year-old better than the 10? Yeah, I think it is. Is it worth the price? No, I don't think it is. But that's my opinion. If you want to go out and buy these bottles, you better get your skates on with this one, because once this has gone off the shelves, it's gone forever. Your best place to try and pick this up now at the moment is your local little convenience stores and shops that have got dusty bottles on their shelves. You may be able to pick that up for, you know, 35 quid in there. They might not realise that it's the 10. Keep a look out for that, but give them a try, see what you think. But yeah, I think it's definitely an improvement, shall we say, on the 10. But there's a couple of others that I'd buy first. So that's that. Thanks for joining me. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it and share it if you want to. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and get your friends to subscribe as well. Appreciate it. See you down the road.